Hey guys, welcome to another PHP tutorial. Sorry for leaving you guys with an error in the last lesson. Basically what happened was we designed a compound interest calculator where we can enter in the amount of principal and it calculated how much money we would have at the end of 10 years if we invested this money. But the problem with that was initially when we just opened up the form, we actually didn't have an amount of money submitted into that variable, so it was trying to do the calculations on an empty variable. So the first thing we're going to do today is teach you guys how to avoid that error. And basically there is a way for us to check whether the form has been submitted, and that's using the super global variable, and I'll just show you the contents of that right now. So I'll echo the contents of this variable, which is echo $_ server square bracket quotation mark request _ method quotation mark square bracket semicolon. And if you put this in and you refresh it, you'll see that right now it says get, right? But as soon as you submit something, that turns into post. So basically this variable tells us whether a form has been submitted. If yes, it changes to post. So we're gonna say that if this variable, the contents of this variable is equal to post, and don't forget we need two equal signs. Two equal signs means the comparison operator for equivalence. If it does equal to post, then we're going to execute all of these statements. So put some quotation marks or put some brackets around that. So if you refresh that now, so let me close the browser and refresh it. You'll see that it doesn't matter now. It's not going to come up with an error message, which is a good thing. So make sure you utilize this if statement to check whether the form has been submitted. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some form validation. So basically the first validation is we're going to check that this box is filled in when they click submit. Alright, so right now if it's empty and we click submit, it's still going to come up with all of these zeros, which is not very useful, because what we really want it to do is tell us that you need to enter something in there. So what we're going to do is in the form, well firstly let's put in a bit of a line wrap after the text box. So I'm going to put in a line break, and what happens is the submit button is down here, and next to the principal, next to the input box, I want to use a bit of PHP code. So I'm gonna say PHP, triangle bracket question mark PHP, and I'm gonna echo an error message, ERR, error message. And so you might say, well, error, this variable, actually I'll just call it error message. Actually, I'm going to call it no principal error, no P error, no P error. So if I save this and refresh, it says this variable is not defined. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to define this with my PHP coding starts. Now notice how this PHP block is typed in before this second block. So even if I define it here, no P error is blank, declare it here, it's probably still not going to work. Right, so basically you need to make sure that this is defined in a block at the top. Alright, so basically I'm going to have another block at the top where I define it. So I'm going to put question mark PHP, finish the question mark, finish the block, and I'm going to define the variable here. And then if you refresh that, it works. Alright, so what are we going to use this variable for? Well, we're going to say that if the principal, if this text box is empty, so if you remember that as soon as you submit it, the contents of that text box gets stored in the super global variable post underscore post. So if the contents of that is empty, so if it is empty, which we can test using the empty function, then we're going to display the error message. So $ no error, no P error equals quotation mark, you need to enter in an amount. Alright, so if it is empty, we're going to display the message. Otherwise, we will then calculate the do the calculations for the compound interest. Now let me just do some indenting so we can see that this works. So I'm gonna indent this, press the tab key, just so I can see the structure of the coding. Alright, so basically if the form has been posted, then we check that if this field is empty, we display the error message. If not, then we do the calculations. So save this, refresh. Error on line 44, so go to line 44. We need brackets around this. Alright, part of the if statement syntax. Okay, so now what happens is if we put in an amount 500, does it work? Yes. If we don't put an amount in and we click submit, what does it do? Nothing. Okay, just let me try and figure this out. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to move everything in the second PHP block, or the third one. We're going to cut everything here, and we're going to paste it at the first PHP block that comes before the form. And the reason for that is because basically we want to set up the no p error variable before the form, right? Because if we're going to display whether it has an error message, we need to get this variable sorted out before the form appears. So this is now at the top of the form, and if we refresh that, and so if we put in an amount, it works. If we don't put in an amount and we click submit, it then says you need to enter in an amount. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.